Hello everyone, and welcome. We're out here for an overnighter. Flying by myself today. Some of you may recognize this spot. I've used this spot to launch the canoe a few times to go on some camping trips back here. Our recent 1-week camping trip, or 5-night stay, was just down this river. Don't have the canoe today. I spotted a little something last time we were here, and that's where we're headed to. We're going up this trail. So right here, there's a nice little fire pit. If we cut through here, we've got a beautiful view. And I think I can string my hammock from this tree down to one of these trees in here. Got my East Hills Outdoors Jungle Explorer hammock. And the plan is, like I said, from this tree to one of the trees in the clump just on the edge of that drop off. And that'll give me a beautiful view of the water when I wake up in the morning. So this is what I'm dealing with. There's a nice clump of trees here, but they're right on the edge of this drop. So I gotta see if I can sneak in here and get this strap on high enough that it'll still hang my hammock. Let's hope that's high enough, because I don't know how much higher I can go. Okay, this one's on, that one's on. Let's see if we got a decent height. I think we're just a little bit low. So here's the shock cord with a loop on the end and a cam buckle that I've already locked the line in. Once I wrap these around the tree, I can let that loop slip and have to start over. Okay. Now each of these strings go through loops that are onto my bug net. So when I bring them around the tree and clip the buckle onto the loop, now as I tighten the string, it'll keep the bug net up and off my face when I'm laying in the hammock. So I snug up one side, then I go down to the other end and I snug up the other carabiner. And that'll bring up this side. They're not calling for any rain tonight, so I just brought the small tarp. That should be plenty of coverage. I'm just worried about the dew. If the dew is too heavy, I don't want it to soak through the bug net and get me wet. So here's my quick deploy ridge line. I put this loop around the tree at the other end, and then I put it around the first toggle and tighten it up, and that is going to hold the line in place around that tree, and then I come and tie it to this end. So I've got the line tied at the other end. I've got a toggle and a prusik loop at this end. I left one at the other end to be able to hang the tarp off of. I've got one prusik loop here. I take my line, and I bring it around the tree. And on the other end of the line, I have another cam buckle. So I lock my line in. Then I can hook it to the prusik loop. And then when I pull on the line, I can really tighten up that ridge line. So now I take out the tarp. Toss it over the ridge line. Now there's a nice loop on the end of this tarp. I take my prusik loop, push it through the hole, wrap it around that toggle. Now when I slide the prusik the other way, it'll snug up the tarp. Now I get a stake. I pull out the guy line. And stake it down. If I can find a spot where it'll go in and stay. Because again, this spot is all on rock, so nothing is easy. Now I've gone and found myself a nice long stick. It's probably about 7.5 feet tall. It might be too tall, but we can always trim it down after if we need to. Now I'm just going to clean the end of this a little bit. The loop in the corner of this tarp is just a bit big. So I'm hoping by leaving that little piece, it should be, yeah, it's just enough to hold it and stop it from sinking down any further. Now I can stand it up and stake it down. Yeah, I think that's way too tall. I can probably cut at least a foot off of there. Instead of digging out the saw, I'm just going to use the saw on my Swiss Army knife. Much better. I spotted this root earlier. I think it's going to be perfect to just stick that underneath, and that should hold quite well. Now I take the sack from the tarp, stick it in this pocket. I try and keep all my sacks in this pocket just so that I know where they are in the morning when I pack up. Now, I've got my under quilt from One Wind. So I hooked that just on the line here at the front of the hammock. Then I stretch it out, and there's another small carabiner at this end, and I hook that over here. Now, I realize this is summer. I don't need the underquilt for warmth, and I've been asked before why I use it in the summer. I find using it in the summer, I leave it just a little bit looser. I'm not using it for the heat. I'm using it to keep the mosquitoes from getting at me. The hammock hangs down into the underquilt once I lay in it. But there's too much, I leave it loose, so there's too much of a gap. There's no way my body heat will warm that up enough to make a difference. But it keeps it close enough that the mosquitoes don't get at me from underneath. That's how I've been doing it, and it seems to work. I don't get a lot of mosquito bites in my back throughout the night, so why mess with what works? And here I have the same two blankets I always use. I've got my wool blanket, which I usually just keep it at the foot end so that if I catch a chill throughout the night, I can pull that over top. But I also have the Afghan that my sister made that has a foot box. And it just helps to keep the Afghan in place keeping my feet covered at night. So I'm going to get this in here. And I really don't think I'm going to need this wool blanket, so right away I'm going to shove it towards the feet. I've got my 2 Dollarama pillows. Normally in the tent, I've got these in my bed, and that's my pillow. In the hammock, because I messed up my knee years ago, my knee can't flex back enough, so I'm not comfortable in the hammock. But I use those pillows and I put them underneath my knee for a bit of support. I sleep fantastic. And then for my head, I came across this. I don't even remember which store it was. I think it was my local drugstore. But it's just a little, one of those U-shaped blow-up travel pillows. One good breath and it's full. Let's take this off for a second. Now, when I go to bed at night, I just put that on my shoulders, and laying in the hammock, it brings it up to my head. I never have to search for my pillow. It's on my shoulders all night long. So we're going to stick that in there. I was expecting a package today. Another piece of gear that I wanted to try. And I had told myself that if it didn't show up by noon, I was leaving without it. And at about 10 after 11, I got the email saying that it was on its way. Now, normally when I get that email, they say it'll be there within 3 hours. Normally it's in there. It's in within about an hour or so. So I decided to wait. Well, it didn't come in until just after 2 o'clock. So I got out here late. I got out here really late. So I decided to save myself some trouble. And I brought some firewood from home. So let's go see what this package was. And we'll have a look at it. And then I'll go get that firewood and we can light the fire and start getting ready for supper. Like I said, it just came in. It's still in the plastic. It came in an oversized box, of course. So I just cut open the Amazon box and grabbed the whole thing. You may recall the nice C high back chairs that I use. Anne was using one in the last trip that we took for a week, and I was using one of our old small ones because I used to have 2 of those nice C chairs, and last winter, because of the plastic, I broke one. Got a hold of the company, they sent me a new chair. Told me that it shouldn't happen. I took it back out on a cold day. Snapped that one too. So I've been looking around at different high back chairs because they're comfortable. somebody had told me that the FE Active one is quite sturdy. But of course, when I went to order it, they no longer have it on Amazon. They have the Nature Hike, which is very similar. But the Nature Hike was $80. This one, I was hoping the name was on the bag because I don't remember what the name was. Okay, so when I get home, I will look up the name and I'll write it on the screen. But this one, I was looking at it and it is very similar to the Nature Hike and to the FE Active that I was looking at. Now, this is the very first time I set it up. But this one is all aluminum construction. There is no plastic. This final leg comes right through, and that's where this connector connects. So it's the same as all the other framed chairs, it's just it's got no plastic connectors. Everything is aluminum. It's got these long, deep pockets for the top of the chair. There is a metal bar across the top to keep it rigid. And then you can hook the bottom. Oh, and it's got pull tabs that break off right away. Perfect. So the pull tabs aren't very strong. Hopefully the rest of the chair is. Okay, so that made it a little tougher to get it in there. But all the stitching around the pockets looks solid. I think it's just the little pull tabs are just a little bit too small. So we're not going to fault the chair for that yet. We're actually going to test it out and see how it goes. It has a small little pillow attached that you can flip over. And then in the bag, it's got this small little pouch that you can use. It's got a clip on the side here. And now you've got a drink holder. Oh. Oh. Okay. So this is pretty comfortable so far. It's got a nice big pocket on this side. I could stick I don't know, my cell phone, a book, whatever I want to. And then on this side you have the optional drink holder, Why they made it that it clips on and off, who knows, but I mean, if this pocket is stitched on, why not just stitch this on and be done with it? But I guess if you don't want to use it, you can always just take it off. It's not insulated or anything, so it's not going to keep your drinks cool or warm. Oh. But so far it's comfortable. Seeing as I don't have to really cut any firewood, I brought out a Stella Artois. Let's see if this works. Oh, fits the whole can perfectly. Kind of worried about the lean though. I wouldn't put a full can in there. Let's get a closer look at this pocket action. Fits perfectly. The pillow I find is just a little bit small and not quite at the right height. But those nice sea chairs that we have a pillow for the back, and it's on an elastic strap so you can adjust the height wherever you want it. And I didn't throw out the broken chair. I kept it for parts for the good chair. I might steal the pillow off of it and try it on this chair next time I come out. So now I'm hoping, this one being all aluminum, I won't have the same problem as last year, and it's not going to fall apart on me in the middle of a winter camp. Oh, that was interesting. That chair broke right at the beginning of the trip. So I ended up spending the evening having to place the leg in where it goes and hold it gently and sit down. And then I could let go and try not to move too much. It worked. I got through the weekend. But it was an interesting trip. And from right here where I'm sitting, I got a dead stump in front of me. But I still have a really nice view. Check this out. And this is the view to my right. And then off to my left, there's the hammock. Now it's lit. Place it in our bundle. And there you have it. Throw on a bunch of dry twigs. And then we wait. Because safety always comes first, I've got my Dollarama bucket. You can probably see it. It's up here hanging in the tree. But before I lit the fire, I'm on a rock. There's just a little bit of moss around. So I went and got a bucket of water and soaked around the fire pit. just so that everything's damp, just so that the fire doesn't spread. I'm not worried about it spreading. We got some rain throughout the week. Everything's still a little bit damp, but better safe than sorry. So now I gotta let that burn down for a little while, and then we can start cooking supper. I had to get away from that fire for a bit. At least over here I've got a little bit more of a breeze coming off the water. We're waiting for that to burn down just a little bit more. Then we'll start getting ready for dinner. But while we wait, I wanted to take this opportunity and thank you all. I looked just before coming out here. We are up to 1,002 subscribers. That is amazing. I never thought I would get this far. This channel started because Ann and I were building a shelter. Her dad really wanted to come and see it, but because of COVID at the time, it just wasn't possible. Her dad is up there in the ages, and we didn't want to risk having him in the vehicle with us to go, and it may have been just a little bit of a difficult walk for him to get in there. So I decided the next time that I went out to do a little bit of work on the shelter, I took my phone, I filmed the walk in, I walked around the shelter and filmed a little bit about the shelter and what was going on, and I showed the area. The plan was when I got home, I could send it to him and he could see it. And then when I got home, the file was too big. I couldn't send it to him. Then I thought, well, okay. I have a YouTube account strictly for me to be able to keep watching the guys that I watch, and I can have my favorites and do it that way. So I thought, why not upload the video? And then I could send him the link, and now he can go and watch it. So that's what I did. And in doing that, I thought, well, now that he can watch it, why don't I share the link with the rest of my family, and my family can watch it? And the rest of her family, and they can watch it. Well, a couple of weeks later, it snowed. And then I got a couple of messages saying, well, are you going to show us what it looks like in the snow? So I went back and I did another walk around in the snow. And when I got done, I told Ann, I said, I kind of enjoy doing that. I think I enjoy walking around and filming what I'm doing, and that way both of our families can see what's going on, keep up to what we're doing. It's an easy way to share with them, and that was the plan, how to share it with family. Then I started getting other people that were watching and enjoying what they saw and subscribing, but I never, ever thought it would go past family, friends, maybe a couple of other people. And here we are at just over 1,000 subscribers. thank you. I never thought I would get here. But now that we're here, I can tell you right now, there are no plans as of yet for me to apply for the ad revenue. It wasn't in the plan. I never thought I would get this far. So for now, I'm going to keep things as is. I'm not applying for the ad revenue. I'm going to keep putting out videos as much as I can. I still enjoy doing it, and I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it. But I appreciate all of you subscribing to me. I appreciate all the comments. I try to answer every one of them as soon as I can. Sometimes life gets in the way and it takes a while. Sometimes I miss one and I don't get to it. But I try. And now let's go have a look at that fire and see if we can start making dinner. What's for supper tonight? A honkin' big sirloin steak. Just look at the size of that thing. I bought it a couple of days ago. Put a little bit of garlic powder and some Montreal steak spice. Threw it in a Ziploc and threw it in the freezer so that it'd be frozen when we came out here. And it would slowly thaw through the day and marinate in all those spices. So now that the steak is on there and cooking, once it's just about done, I have Ben's Original Creamy Mushroom Risotto. Apparently I'm supposed to massage the package and break up the rice. Once the steak is cooked and resting, I pour the rice into the pot and I add 1/3 of a cup of water. Put it on the heat till it's heated through and the water's all gone. Stirring occasionally. It says perfect in 90 seconds. So once I add the water and throw it on the fire, 1.5 minutes we should be eating. I guess we'll have to see. Okay, I think this steak is done. We're gonna pull it off of there, set it on top of the cooler and let it rest. Which should be right about there. Get that over the heat. And I've got just some small little pieces here that I'm gonna toss underneath. Just because it doesn't say how hot it's supposed to be. Don't know if I have to bring it to a boil or not. It just says to heat it and stir it. So by putting those little pieces, hopefully they'll catch. Give us just a bit more heat. Just to help us evaporate that water, let the rice soak it all in and warm up. So the risotto, blah. So the risotto is ready. And so is the steak. Look at that. I've already filmed cutting off the first piece, taking a bite, but apparently instead of pressing record, I pressed off. That steak is beautiful. Still a little pink in the middle. And the risotto, nice and creamy. If anybody would have told me I would be eating delicious risotto out in the woods, I'd have said, liar. I've been proven wrong. This is delicious. So now I'm going to turn this off and enjoy my dinner. A little side pocket on the chair. Great for holding a granola bar. Just a little bit of chocolate granola bar for dessert. Washing it all down with a bit of Gatorade. And now we're just going to sit back, enjoy the fire, wait for bedtime. I decided to jump into the hammock and stretch out. As soon as I closed the zippers, I heard all the mosquitoes outside starting to buzz like crazy. So I got here just in the nick of time. There's maybe 3 or 4 that followed me in here, but it won't take me long to track them down and kill them and be done with that for the night. Have a good night. See you all in the morning. Morning, everyone. That first sip is always the best. Oh, that tastes so good in the morning. Especially with a beautiful view like this one. It's a gorgeous place. I hope you all slept well. I kinda did. My frozen shoulder is back, and it's been bothering me for a little while now. And it's the first time I'm in the hammock in a while. And I just had a bit of a hard time adjusting and getting comfortable. Just because when you're in the hammock, it's pressing against your shoulders. But I managed to find that sweet spot. And once I found that sweet spot, the right back to super comfortable. Out like a light I went, and I slept like a baby all night long. I have just found the best seat in the house. You might be getting a lot of wind noise. But I think this view is worth it. And I'm noticing that this whole rock, there's chunks of quartz in it everywhere. There's a little bit here. It trickles down. There's a bigger chunk down here. Let me show you. So there's a bit of it here. And it trickles down. Nice big chunk of it here. And then if we come over to this side, this is all quartz. This is all quartz. Whoa. That's a big chunk of it. More here. And then there's more right along here. Cool. Now that I know that quartz is here, whenever I start running low on quartz for my my flint and steel, I could always come back here and grab a little chunk. Good to know. But I think this coffee's just about done. I'm gonna have to end things here so that I can pack up and get back home. I want to thank you all for joining me on this one. It's always a pleasure having you here. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button. And if you're going to do that, you may as well hit the notification bell. When you do, there'll be a drop-down menu. In that menu, select all, and that should let you know whenever we put out a new video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.